Hey everybody, it's Scott Steen with the winnersandwonders.com coming to you with what day is it, Scott?
Hump day.
Hump day! That's right, baby. Nice job.
Thank you.
There's hope for you yet. It is the hump day version of today in sports betting. Light show, man. Light load for us today, brother. Just 4 games to look at. 4 games. That's it. That's all we have to do.
4 games, 3 lines. So we'll
4 games and 3 lines. Exactly right. So, still no starter at this late hour that has been by a lot because it looks like Clayton Kershaw is going to get the start for the Dodgers, so that usually means minus 200 plus. So good times.
It's not going to be good times for San Diego. At least it shouldn't be, because it's got to be Paddock. We're going to get into that in a little while.
Yeah, they're really out of options. We checked that a little bit before, and it really could only be Paddock, and that's going to be probably a problem. So, But let's get started first. Take a look quick at this Braves-Marlins game. Hopefully we'll have it posted just in time for you to be able to take advantage of our sage advice on this one. Scott, I had the Marlins yesterday on the play of the day. It
looked good for about 4 innings.
3 innings. Yeah, 3-4 innings. We had the lead there. But maybe we can milk this out at plus 180. But nope, it did not happen. The Braves bats woke up. Acuna's just hitting the ball so well right now.
He's so good.
That top.
He was great, and then Albies made a couple of really nice plays in the field.
Yep, and sometimes it takes that to preserve the lead, to keep that big inning from happening. Today, Scott, we have Pablo Lopez going for the Fish against Ian Anderson for the Braves. One of those guys that has held this Braves rotation together. You and I were talking off air, as you never miss a chance to rib me about my proclamation that the Braves would not make the playoffs because of their lack of pitching. And this is one of the guys that has made you look good, Scott. And today he goes up against Pablo Lopez. Pitcher for the Marlins, he's fine. He's a good, solid young pitcher. But this Ian Anderson kid, Scott, he's in a different league right now.
Oh, definitely. But you also have to wonder if the moment, so to speak, will be too much for the young rookie, as he's finally making his postseason debut. I don't know if that really matters. I think it's worth talking about, though. People always say, some people freeze in the brighter light, so to speak, and he's yet to fully be in this experience. So
Scott, I don't have to. He actually pitched against Cincinnati in the postseason.
I actually didn't even realize he pitched against Cincinnati.
Yeah,
I'm proud about that one.
He pitched very, very well with 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs.
Well, the truth is, I think either of us could have pitched against Cincinnati, and they still wouldn't have scored.
What's that?
I think either of us could have pitched against Cincinnati, and they wouldn't have scored. But I actually slipped my mind that he actually pitched against the Reds. Still, either or, the longer it goes into the playoffs, the more pressure is going to be on these young guys.
True. That's true. Certainly, and that certainly is something to keep an eye on. Is these guys tend to sometimes freeze on the big stage.
I mean, regardless, I trust Anderson more than I trust Lopez. I think Lopez is fine, but, he's not exactly the guy I want to face Atlanta.
No, he's, and he actually pitched well his last time out. And that's another thing that we need to talk about. He's another one of these guys that hasn't pitched since the 25th of September.
And that was my main logic for fading Manaea yesterday, and that worked out pretty well because Manaea didn't look sharp at all.
No, he did not. And Pablo Lopez, ironically, his last time out was against Atlanta and Ian Anderson. He did get the win. They pitched 5 innings, gave up 0 earned, 2 hits, struck out 6, walked 2. So he's had a pretty good line. But you know what? As you and I know, and everybody out there most likely knows, the playoffs are a whole different animal. There's a lot more on the line, a lot more pressure. Now, without the crowd, that's going to take one of the factors out of it because the crowds are always, super amped up for the playoffs as well. But you want to back Ian Anderson and the Braves today. You're paying the price, Scott. It's minus 201, plus 184 on the Fish, 8.5 the total. What's the angle here for you, buddy?
For me, I think that this is a pretty tough spot to actually find value with. So for that reason, based on all the lines available, etc., I'm going to take the over. I know that Lopez pitched well against the Braves in the past, especially in his last appearance, but Atlanta's offense is just so good. and they showed it in game one. They have the ability to generate something out of nothing all the time. And with Acuna, with Freeman, Albies, even you got some bench guys as well, even Duvall or any of these other guys who can just show up and just hit bombs. They just have so many weapons. Even Darno, who's been very good as a catcher as well. I just really like this Braves offense.
He's hitting cleanup, man. Travis Darno's hitting cleanup.
That's what I'm saying. He had the big 3-run homer yesterday to blow the game open, so to speak. And they just have so many weapons from top to bottom. And I think that even though Lopez has been serviceable so far this season, I think Atlanta's hitting had put together quite a performance yesterday that I think will carry over into this one. And Anderson, I do think that he's good. I do question how long he's going to go or if Miami will be able to get to him. It seems like Miami does a pretty good job of manufacturing a couple of runs against pretty good starting pitchers. They seem to find a way to do so. I think they'll win the game 6-3, give or take. But for me, I'll go with the over because there is a chance that Anderson struggles and both bullpens aren't, I'd say, elite by any means. Atlanta's has been better, but I know they're going to throw Luke Jackson into the game at some point, and at that point, all bets are off. So for me, I'm just going to go with the over 8.5 because, believe it or not, this postseason has actually been pretty high scoring.
Yeah, they have. It tended to be over games. I took the Yankees over yesterday on a premium, and one of the things
when you cashed that, the fourth inning, the third inning,
fourth inning, yeah. Fourth inning, it was 9. It was over 8.5, man. It was It's just a solid play. But one of the things I talked about on the premium video was the fact that the Yankees have everybody healthy now, and that top six of their lineup, I would say it's arguably the best top six of this century, and it certainly ranks up there with the first six of just about any team you could name in the history of baseball.
I think you can argue top 7 with Torres batting 7th.
You could. And the point I was going to make is this Atlanta top six.
It's not far behind.
No, it's not far behind. It's not quite in that stratosphere, but you've got Acuna, Freeman, Ozuna, Darnold, Albies, and Dansby Swan.
Go.
Yeah, I mean, in any lineup where you've got Markakis hitting 7th, hitting 8th, rather, there's a good chance that's a pretty darn good lineup because Markakis can still rake against the right-handers especially. So for me on this one, I have a lot of faith in Ian Anderson. I think he could go 6 or 7, and I think he could go 6 or 7 to shut out baseball. I'm going to take the Marlins out of the equation, Scott. I'm going to go ahead and take the Braves at 4.5 for the team total. It's juiced at -145. Obviously, I don't love that, but I think this is a time where paying the juice is worth it. This is a team that's absolutely mashing the ball.
Yeah, I think Atlanta. I said I thought they'd win 6-3, something like that. So yeah, I can't really argue with that.
I don't see any way they don't get to 5. Give me Atlanta team total over.
Yep.
4.5. Cool. All right, moving on. Taking a look at the Houston Astros and the Oakland Athletics. You and I were both right about Minaya yesterday. Like I told you, being a Royals fan, I've never been a Minaya guy. I was surprised. Anytime he has success, it always surprised me, and he certainly didn't yesterday.
Valdez, though, solid pitcher.
Yeah, he definitely has the stuff. He hasn't been super consistent, but
no, but he has flashes that show that he can actually be a potential top 3 guy in a rotation.
Yeah, you see the potential there for sure. And today it's going to be Luzardo against Urquidy.
I haven't seen Luzardo since Game 1 against the White Sox, and he got absolutely shelled.
Yeah, it was not good as Luzardo went up against Giolito, went 3 1/3, gave up 6 hits, 3 earned, and 2 dingers.
Each of his last 2 starts, he's gone 3 innings, 3 earned. So he hasn't really done anything lately of note.
What's that?
I said each of his last 2 starts, even his final regular season start, he also went 3 innings, 3 earned runs. So he has been consistently bad.
Why do I not have that? I've got his start before that going against San Francisco and Gausman going 6 innings.
I could have sworn I looked at this yesterday and I saw that he had 3 innings, 3 earned runs in his last appearance before that. But At least that's what I think happened last time. Yeah, I see that because he came out of the bullpen. You're looking at the starter numbers. I know I'm looking at it right again. He faced the Dodgers, went 3 innings, 3 earned runs, each of his last 2 starts. So,
Okay, wait a minute. He came out of the pen against the Dodgers?
yes.
Okay, I'll write that off. Plus it's the Dodgers.
I'm
But
just saying, each of his last 2 appearances, he's gone 3 innings, 3 earned runs. So it's not like he's been pitching well lately. That's my
no, and having said that, I haven't been. I know they've been anxious to get him into the rotation.
He's fine. He's a young guy. Do I see the same upside that they see with him? No, but he showed flashes where he can be, I'd say, good at times. It's just the issue is that the longer these young rookies or these young guys stay in the league, the more likely they struggle down the stretch because people actually have film on these guys and they haven't made any adjustments.
Makes a huge difference. What does he like to throw in this situation? What does he like to throw in this situation? Absolutely, that makes a ton of difference.
Does it surprise that they kind of threw Montes into the doghouse?
What do you mean?
Is it surprising that Montes isn't making a start in the playoffs with an elimination game here? Especially with the Astros having so many powerful righty bats.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand
because logically, I don't know if it really matters. I don't know the science behind facing lefties on back-to-back days and if that actually benefits the offense or not. Most managers try to switch it up, righty, lefty, righty, that kind of stuff. And Luzardo, you've already seen against the White Sox. He didn't have it. Now, I know the White Sox were undefeated against left-handed pitching. I get all that. But still, he hasn't looked good. Montes, I know that he has underachieved. But at some point, you got to think to yourself, the season's on the line. Is Luzardo the guy I really want on the mound? And I think the answer is no. Like Montes, even though he might not be great, he at least has the potential to give you 7 innings, 1 run.
I wouldn't want a left-hander anywhere near the starting rotation against this Astros team right now.
I'm just saying, I agree. And the fact that you have lefty in games 2 and 3, I'm not exactly a fan of this move. I'm just going to throw that out there.
No.
I don't like your Urquidy from the Astros either. So I don't think it's a great pitching matchup for both teams. But something about going lefty against an Astros team that just smacked around Mania yesterday. I don't really think that move's going to work, in my opinion.
No, I agree. It's again, I wouldn't want a left-hander starter going against the Astros in an elimination game. So
I'm going to lean Houston just because I think Oakland's done. That was my logic. Yes, I just thought the moment was too big for Oakland. They had a great comeback win against the White Sox to finally win a playoff series in Game 3. Good for them. But at the end of the day, they're against Houston. Houston's been there before, been there, done that. And you can just tell by the way that they're just acting. It just Houston knows, like, all right, cool, we know what we got to do. We're going to win the game. And Oakland's thinking to themselves, I don't know what we're going to do. Houston's, keeps killing us. How do we respond? And I just think that if Oakland falls behind early, it's going to get ugly, in my opinion.
Well, in fairness, Luzardo has been able to clamp down twice this season on the Astros. He's made.
Tanaka was very good against the Astros this season also, and he got shelled.
I understand. He's made 2 starts against them, gone 12 2/3, giving up just 4 innings, giving up 4 runs, won both of his starts.
That might be the logic behind using him. I'm just saying, playoff baseball, I don't want to exactly face lefties on back-to-back starts. I'm not a big fan of that maneuver.
No, especially when your left-handed hitting is so much worse than your right-handed hitting for the Astros. And the price on this, it's pretty close to pick 'em again. It's just about the same odds we had yesterday. Houston minus 106, A's minus 104.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Houston because regardless of who's pitching, these lines are priced like these teams are even or that Oakland's even slightly better, and they're not. I know that they were in the regular season, but since baseball is a pretty strong momentum sport, I mean, all the momentum's on Houston. This isn't even a discussion. They've won each of the first 2 games by at least 3 runs. The series hasn't been close.
I'll tell you, in the first 2 series, that Houston team looks a lot like the Houston team of pick your year.
Correa woke up, Springer woke up, Bregman looks good, Altuve's fine. They're hitting the ball, and the bullpen's been really good.
Yep, and that's been the most surprising part of that bullpen. able to come in and hold the line in these games. It's hard to get away from the Astros right here. I agree, Scott. I don't know.
I know that we've talked about this this will transition to the next game. We talked about it with Tampa and how I keep butchering the pronunciation. The guy whose last name starts with an A, he homered yesterday.
I was actually going to I would look him up on YouTube and get a correct pronunciation from that, and I didn't. And I didn't watch enough of this game last night. I was watching basketball and running some errands. So I didn't see. I kept checking the score, and honestly, once it went over the total, I kind of lost interest in it.
Arozarena.
I think that's pretty close.
That's how I'd assume it's pronounced. Arozarena. Either or. He's batting .625 in the series. But the point is, we talked about this going into yesterday's game, how Tampa's lineup doesn't intimidate anybody, but they have one guy in Arozarena who you can tell is just better than everyone else in the lineup. That's kind of the situation Oakland has, except they don't even have one guy. You look at Oakland's lineup and you're just going, who's going to beat me? Like, when you're ace in the holes Chris Davis, you have some problems. And he's been good in the series. But Matt Olson's been nowhere to be found. Chapman's injured. Simeon's been a ghost.
Simeon's actually hitting .571.
I meant all season long that he's been a ghost.
That's true.
He's been good in the playoffs. But you're going down the line, and you're wondering, like, who are you going to rely on for a big hit? And I don't know if you can rely on anybody.
Yeah, I mean, Pinder's played decent.
Pinder's been fine. I was going to say Pinder's been one of their best hitters, but like, really, this is what
they've got LaStella hitting second. That hasn't gone well.
Just saying, it's a matter of they picked up LaStella to try to boost the lineup a bit. That hasn't worked out, and Houston has the top 5 or so just absolutely stacked with playoff experience with guys who can contribute.
Yeah,
the lineup's close. He's pitching better. I think Oakland's manager has been a disaster in the playoffs. Even against Chicago, I thought he made some really awful moves. And
hasn't pushed many of the right buttons, in my opinion. I agree with that.
So, yeah, I don't know what area Oakland's better than Houston right now. So I'll take Houston.
I agree. You look at that Houston lineup, man, and like you said, it is chock full of guys with experience, guys that can bop. You know, Springer hit 2 home runs yesterday. Even Maldonado got in on the act, and it's hard against this A's team. I think this is probably the bargain of the day.
Yeah.
Being able to pick up the Astros. And actually, it's just, as we speak, the line has gone down to pick them. It's minus 105 on each side.
All I know is that I won yesterday with the Astros at minus 103. So I am not going to learn my lesson from winning. So, yeah, I'm gonna go back to the well on that one.
No, this lineup.
They're mashing, and Oakland has completely fallen off the table.
Yeah, and they're sending a left-hander to the mound. Good luck.
Yeah, that's always my takeaway.
All right, so let's talk about this. Rays and Yankees game. Like I said, we had the over yesterday in the premium play that paid off in spades. That was breathing there.
I leaned to the over. I leaned to the Yankees team total over. Everything worked out. This is actually going to be my play today, but I ended up going with the Astros money line instead. They both were sweat free, so it worked itself out.
You know, and this Tampa Bay squad, you know, you've got some guys that can hit. You know, four of their top 5 hitters have an OPS over 1,000 right now as far as the playoffs go. So
yeah, Aaron Boone had the great idea of using J.A. Happ after 1 inning from Garcia. I expected 1 inning from Garcia. I wasn't surprised that was the move. I saw some speculation of that on Twitter before the game, so I wasn't surprised because the more I thought about it, the more I thought that made sense. I didn't think it would be Happ. I thought it was going to be Montgomery, but that's not much better either. Happ is just not good.
Not at all good.
The Yankees made a bit of a run at it. They ended up having Stanton, who went off for 2 home runs and kept them in it. They brought in Loizaga, the guy on second base, and I immediately thought this is just going to backfire dramatically because Loizaga's not any good. And he immediately gives up a single up the middle. Runner scores. Then he gives up a home run in the next inning. And, yeah, Loizaga should not pitch for the rest of the series. He's not good at the game. But, yeah, I can't say that I'm shocked the Yankees lost when you have Glass now versus basically J.A. Happ. So I'm not surprised that that's the outcome that you had.
Although, you know, Glasnow was very beatable in five innings.
You make the argument Cole was very beatable in Game 1.
No, very true. Yeah.
So I think that balances out.
All right. So
By the way, so you watched it. You watched a decent portion of the game, right?
a little bit. No, I didn't watch much of this one. I just
How,
got back to the
how many
score.
innings you watched? About 3 innings.
Tops, yeah.
How bad was Buckner behind the plate?
Not my favorite.
That was one of the worst performances I've seen by an ump in a playoff game in a long time. And I've seen some bad ones because Angel Hernandez still does playoff games. That was awful.
He's a dreadful umpire. I wrote an article about umpires a couple years ago.
Yeah, Buckner's one of those guys who gets kind of forgotten about because of Joe West and because of Angel Hernandez. He's worse than Joe West. Buckner.
Yes.
He's awful. And he made some brutal calls in the last couple of innings that could have swayed the game really, really bad. But, yeah, I'm not going to say that's the reason why the Yankees lost. I thought they lost because you used Jay Happ and you used Jonathan Weiziga. But that was one of my takeaways there is that the umpiring has got to be more consistent. And that's a problem.
CD Buckner is world-class awful as an umpire.
How does he still get playoff games?
I don't know. I don't know how this gets. I assume they talk about it being on a rating system. I don't know who's rating CD Buckner and Angel Hernandez. In the top. I don't know how many series do we have.
I don't know, but the only thing I know is that you have 15 games every day, which means you inherently have 60 umpires.
Right.
Not giving Hernandez and Buckner playoff games.
Well, of course, for the playoffs, you got 6, and you got, they have 16 games, right? So you need 96 umps to start. No, you had 8 games. You had 16 teams, 8 games.
Yeah,
48 to start.
That's what I'm saying. You leave these two off. I don't care about the veteran experience. You got to have better umpires. Yeah, so I expect a little bit more consistency behind home plate in this game, but I don't think it matters because both these teams have been pretty solid offensively so far in the postseason, and the Yankees have scored at least 5 runs in every single postseason game. So blindly looking at the pitching matchup here with Tanaka versus Morton. I know you're not a Tanaka guy. I know he wasn't good against Cleveland, and Morton has been very underwhelming all year long. I'm assuming we're both on the over, right?
Yeah. I was thinking maybe Yankees over, but I like because the Rays are hitting. Yeah, it's hard. We mashed it yesterday to 8.5. I don't think 9 makes a difference.
I think the one thing though that the Yankees also it's either a good or a bad thing depending on what you think of Tanaka, because of the bullpen that you ended up having to use yesterday, with the likes of pretty much a decent amount of people because Garcia only went 1. Happ only went about 2, so you were forced to use a decent amount of bullpen arms. Who do you have left in the bullpen? Besides Britton and Chapman and the guys in the later innings, you can't use Montgomery. He's probably your Game 4 starter. So if Tanaka gets into trouble, you might be forced to stick with Tanaka because you got nobody else in the pen. You're going to use King. You're going to use a bunch of random rookie guys because you have no arms left. The Happ move completely backfired because Happ didn't go long enough.
Yeah, I think they wanted him to eat some innings there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree, and it looks like they are saving Montgomery to make that Game 4 start.
They don't have a choice.
So yeah, it could be a situation where somebody's going to have to wear this for a little bit.
I think Tampa also has an issue because they used all their main bullpen guys yesterday, and there's no days off. I mean, if you actually think about who they used yesterday, they used basically everybody besides Curtis. And Curtis got shelled in Game 1. But Fairbanks didn't pitch well, but he pitched. Anderson pitched. Castillo pitched. All their main guys pitched yesterday. And I don't know if they're even available for this game.
I would think they would be, Scott. I don't know if they didn't pitch enough innings that I think these guys are still going to be available.
I think they would be, but I'm just saying I have to question how sharp they're going to be with no days off and each of them having thrown about 20 pitches the day prior.
I don't worry about bullpen guys pitching 2 days in a row for the most.
I think it's worth discussing. That's all I'm going to say.
I think if you get to the third day, it becomes more of an issue. The second day, I'm not that concerned.
Okay. Either way, the Yankees definitely have bigger bullpen concerns than Tampa
Yes,
because the Yankees bullpen isn't very good to begin with.
that's
But,
exactly the problem.
but Britton didn't pitch. Chapman didn't pitch. Truth is, I thought they took out Ottavino too early. I know he was walking a guy or two, but he's a strikeout pitcher, guy on second base, 1 out. I don't know why you don't let him face another batter, but that's just my personal opinion. But anyway, I'm going to lean to the over.
Yeah, Charlie Morton's a guy that's got a 4.74 ERA. He's been underwhelming all season long. Tanaka's not pitched well his last 3 times out, 7.20 ERA, 1.7 WHIP. Not exactly the numbers you want to see coming into the game.
No, and I know Tanaka, I still acknowledge his very good playoff numbers historically, but I do acknowledge he was not good against Cleveland at all. In the first
You look at this matchup, though, and you think one of these teams is going to put up 6 or 7.
They should. I think
maybe both.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the over. I would be tempted to play the Yankees over as well, 4.5. But I think I want to get Tampa Bay involved in the action as well.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with the over. I think even if Tanaka pitches well, he'll give up 2-3 runs, and that's before the bullpen comes in, which is always going to be a pretty interesting situation. But the Yankees bullpen, most likely, you're praying Tanaka goes roughly 6.
Mm-hmm.
Green in the 7th, Britton in the 8th, Chapman in the 9th. That's kind of your dream scenario because Green didn't.
Right.
So we'll see what happens.
You know what? I also like I like the Rays here at plus 119. Catching them at plus money.
I think if the Yankees lose this game, they're screwed, and I mean that I mean that seriously, not as an overreaction, but because of the fact you have to use Montgomery in Game 4. The Yankees need to win this game.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean anything for the must-win thing that we've talked about. I'm just stating a fact that if the Yankees lose this game, they are in serious trouble.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's not being presented to the Yankees as a must-win scenario, but
it could be. I think you'll agree with me. Montgomery Game 4 is not where you want to be.
Not where you want to be, not at all.
And I think no matter what, let's just say they win Game 3, they lose Game 4. Cole has to pitch on 3 days rest in Game 5, right?
Yes.
Like that's not even a discussion.
No.
So, yeah.
He absolutely has to. You're correct.
Mm-hmm.
And Scott, as we talk here, as we've talked, they do have a line now on the Dodgers.
Okay, we're making progress. I see roughly minus 175.
Yeah, 175 is the number there.
Did they officially announce that Paddock's pitching, or that has not?
No, not that I see. It's not on ML. It's not on MLB. So I don't. That's usually the spot where you've got the first best update. Scott, I'm tempted to lay that 175.
I think I kind of have to, right?
You know, I hate to do it. You know, I don't.
What's the Dodgers team total actually?
I doubt if it has a team total yet. It doesn't. But if it's going to be 175, it's 8.5. I don't know. It's probably going to be. I think probably going to be 4.5, 3.5. I would guess. I don't know, Scott. I don't know.
I don't know.
The border being 5. It's right on the border being 5.5, 2.5, and
that's possible too. I mean, you're looking at either Paddock or Davies, and Davies was awful in the first round. So was Paddock, but you're really in some dire situation right now if you're San Diego because you got no arms.
Yeah, we talked about that with Lamet going down. That's
a killer.
Absolutely.
Even Clevenger coming back, he pitched 1 inning. Don't get me wrong, they appreciated the 1 inning, but they really needed to eat up some more innings.
Yeah, that was a biggie. They needed Clevenger to step up, and
and apparently he still was dealing with some injuries, which doesn't surprise me because they clearly rushed him back. But that it's an issue. So I'm gonna go with the Dodgers. I'm not really gonna think much about it. This Dodgers team is just better all around. They did their classic Dodger maneuver, which is fall behind 1 run early, outscore them by 5 in the last 4 innings, and just win the game handily. And no part of San Diego's pitching do I like in this game. So for me, I'm going to go with the Dodgers.
So are we really just willing to forgive Kershaw for all of his playoff disasters and jump on the Kershaw train here since he had that one good start? Gave up.
Well, I'm not going to overreact for him doing well against the Brewers, whose offense we've roasted all year long. It's also just a matter of whoever San Diego's throwing out there, I don't like.
Yeah.
So you can look at it and go, well, Kershaw minus 175 in a playoff game, I don't know. And I'd say, yeah, but if Paddock gave up like 5 runs in his last playoff start in about 2 innings, and Davies gave up 4 runs in 2, I think this is cheap for Kershaw based on who he's against.
Yeah, it's unusual. We opened the show. We talked about, the Dodgers are most likely going to be minus 200 or so.
I thought they'd be 200. I don't know why they wouldn't be 200.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's hard to believe, but I think we're getting a bargain at minus 175.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, very good. Well, that's the baseball show, everybody. We appreciate you watching. That's our only show for today. So make sure you tune in tomorrow. We'll be talking about what's got a little NBA, a little NFL, a little Major League Baseball. We'll see who's still playing. And yeah,
there is no NBA. They're resuming on Friday. So
right, NBA's Friday. We got a barn burner tomorrow night in the NFL. Scott, who's on tap for us?
We got the Buccaneers and the Bears. The Bears.
Who's going to play receiver for the receiver for the Buccaneers? Scott, is it going to be you again?
They're going to try to clone Mike Evans before opening tip. We're going to see what happens because the Buccaneers are missing a ton of receivers, and it's going to be a pretty situation.
It's beginning to look like that New England team with absolutely no receivers.
Yeah, I guess.
Brady says, "Oh, I know how to do this." All right, so that'll be fun. We'll do that tomorrow. And, of course, if you want more information on all of these baseball games, make sure you check out winnersandwhiners.com, the #1 site in the world for predictive sports analysis anywhere. Make sure you check that out. It'll become part of your daily handicapping routine, I promise. And for myself, for Scott Reichel, for all of us over here at Winners and Whiners, appreciate you watching the show. Make sure you drop us a comment. Let us know what you're playing today. Give us the old thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. It's where all the cool kids are hanging out. And that's it for us. I hope you guys cash every single ticket in your pocket today. And we will see you next time on Today in Sports Betting. Take care, everybody.